message.
And welcome. My host for tonight are from Washington. Our guests tonight are Bill Olsen and Eric Ellis. Welcome to the show. The Q&A tool is enabled for tonight's broadcast. Submit your questions throughout the show and we'll ask as many as time allows. If you know someone who would make a great guest, submit their information to us at bit.ly/BTS_guest. Finally, you can watch past episodes and subscribe to our channel at youtube.com/BTS. And now, your host of Behind.
Well, welcome everybody. It is episode 29 of Behind the Scanner, and I'm back in town. So I want to thank my guests for letting me take a little vacay, as it were. Actually, our first guest tonight, Bill Olsen, is from where I was just at, Las Vegas, Nevada. So please welcome Bill, also known as Agent First Degree.
Hello.
Yay!
Is that a resistance sign with dice behind you?
That's classic.
That's awesome.
And you notice it's 8 the hard way.
Oh. Nicely done, nicely done.
That's
Well,
how we do it in Vegas.
speaking of Vegas, I was just there. So please don't share with Daphne or anybody else what happened, because you know what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But with that being said, I know what it's like to play on the green side there. I don't know what it's like to play on the blue side, obviously. So elaborate for us. What is it like playing in what is probably the #1, I guess, adult tourist destination in the country?
You know, it's a lot of fun on either side, I'm going to expect. When I started in Vegas back in December 2012, there were not a lot of portals. So we had to race in order to get to them, in order to get AP to work our way up to 8. At this point, or at least most recently, the green side has had the upper hand. We kind of dominated pretty effectively up through dice back in February-March timeframe. At that point, a lot of our players got bored or decided to go casual, and so we've been struggling since, but you know, it's made for a lot of opportunity to level up, and was able to hit 16 2 weeks ago as a result. So
Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah. Well, so now you've got a really interesting agent name, and I mean, I can think of different scenarios of how you got the name, like desert temperatures, or you're the first member, original member of 98 Degrees. But okay, seriously, where does your agent name come from?
well, my agent name came from the fact that I actually have been awarded a black belt in Taekwondo. Started my kid in Taekwondo a number of years ago. Realized I was there every day watching him, and there's no reason for me to be behind the counter sitting in the chairs. So joined him out front, and 3 years later I had a black belt and really enjoyed mostly the sparring. Was able to take the state championship in 2004. I was the Nevada state champion in Taekwondo and sparring, and really enjoyed getting out there and getting physical.
Wow.
Good preparation for Ingress, huh?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Protecting those feelings.
You know, they say you can't get the portal. It's not true.
Well, that's amazing with the agent name, and well, now that we are into the Ingress thing, Bill, you are quite a fielder over in the West, and part of the Pony Riders which we were first introduced to a few weeks ago when Dover and Michael Anderson too appeared on the show. What was one of your most memorable ops with Fields?
Probably one of the most memorable ops was with Ogdober, and he drove up. We exchanged keys here to Vegas, and then ended up driving out to Tacoma, California, a couple hours away. Discovered at that point that all of the portals there are BGAN only. At the time, I didn't own a BGAN. So raced to Shoshone, California, about 20 miles away to get portals there. Discovered they were also BGAN only, but found a Wi-Fi that I was able to talk to the museum lady about getting on, and spent the next 5 hours waiting for the lanes to get cleared. But we got the field up, and just that anticipation of waiting. Am I going to be able to actually throw this link or not throw this link? And we were able to cover all of Southern California. We linked down to Cabo, off to the coast, and then to the Nevada-California border. So pretty large field, about 12 million MU.
Wow, that's pretty big.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Pretty big.
Close with that. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like 11,900,099 larger than what I usually do.
You know, there's nothing like going to a remote site and putting it up. I was able to be part of the team that caused the bath to be nerfed at anomalies when we covered Flagstaff. Again, in that case, I was at a BGAN only portal for the whole time, sitting there by myself, communicating only with a single individual, basically via text. And, got the field up there, covered most of Arizona for 4 hours, and won the anomaly in that case. Scored all 400 points, and the difference in the score was exactly 400 points.
Wow.
Since then, fields are nerfed. So sorry about that.
You.
You know, really.
Nice. Well, I don't want to blow up your spot, and I'm going to go a little bit off script, as it were. But in chatting with you before the show in our little virtual green room, you mentioned that you're a grandfather. Is that right?
I am. I've got a 2-year-old grandson and actually a granddaughter due next week.
Wow. Congratulations. That's pretty cool.
Would not have guessed that, just so you know.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm older than I appear. So,
It must be the desert weather.
something like that.
So, well, speaking of children and childhoods and things, this is going to be a weird tangent, but from my childhood, a movie that I liked was Stand By Me, and you actually had kind of a Stand By Me incident with a dead body and everything. Can you elaborate on that for us?
I did. About 12 years old, and me and 2 friends in a small community in southern Utah where we live decided we were going to dig a fort, and we were digging the fort and discovered a dead body that had been buried there. So
Wow.
let me just say that when you discover a dead body, it completely ruins your fort.
Yeah.
I can imagine. Did you have to? What'd you do?
Well, we obviously went home, told our parents, they called the police. The body was not a recent body. It had been there 40, 50 years, according to the coroner, and they guessed that it was just somebody who died of natural causes, woman approximately age 30, and they took it no further other than they used a backhoe and excavated the entire area, like I say, fort totally ruined.
Isn't that kind of cliche to be like on the outskirts of Vegas in the desert and find like a dead body?
Something like
Doesn't
that,
happen.
yeah.
It's true. It's like you're the inspiration for that story.
I've generated a bit of a reputation when I try and get team members to go on these remote sites in order to do big fielding. It's really hard to find people who'll go in the desert with me in the middle of the night. Go figure.
Yeah. I can understand. Well, if you ever come to the East Coast, I don't know, maybe we'll have to go to like Gettysburg or something. I'm sure we'll dig up something interesting around there.
You know, I was in Gettysburg 3 weeks ago. So you probably saw me. You know, I saw Red Solo Cup playing there and blew up some of his stuff.
Haha.
Hey, nabbit! That was my guardian, man!
Oh,
You wouldn't be the first nor only. So.
well done, Bill. Well done.
All right, so speaking of Gettysburg, which is a very popular place to go for Platinum Explorers, I was really happy to see that you were also a fellow Platinum Explorer. And given where you are kind of in the West, you probably have some really great advice on portal dense areas. So what are some recommendations for someone who wants to visit your area, or maybe in the case of someone who actually is or was in your area? Are there any good farms or places that you like to play?
Yeah,
or recommend for someone to?
Vegas, you know, the Strip, of course, has very dense portals. You can pick up 400 or so pretty easily just going down the Strip. Almost every one of our parks, we have memorial trees. So every park is a farm, somewhere between 30 and 60 portals per. UNLV campus has over 100 portals. And then Boulder City, about 30 miles from Las Vegas, has another few hundred. So that's the Vegas area. In addition to Vegas, Salt Lake City, easy 1,000 or so portals, just driving it. Phoenix was great. Actually, when I went to Phoenix chasing uniques, had Joe Gomez meet me there about 11 p.m. and we ran till 11 p.m. the next day and covered all of Phoenix, came back with 1,000 uniques. The Bay Area, went there, picked up 2,000 uniques in a couple of days. Tried LA, but LA actually didn't work too well, too much traffic. So
yeah, that's a good point.
lots of portals, but not efficient. So
right, really good tip right there.
Yeah.
Well, Bill, talking about portals, which is the portal that you have visited that you can say is the most, I don't know, interesting or beautiful, maybe, or I don't know, one that really stuck in your mind, and why?
You know, there's a Big Ant only portal about 2.5 hours from Vegas called Carp Post Office. It's actually one of the anchors for the Flagstaff Field, and it's in the middle of nowhere, all by itself, no cell coverage, but there's a stream that runs right by it, some trees, really kind of beautiful, nice, secluded, peaceful. So it's really a great spot to go and hang out by yourself. Made a run up there to Pullmore Keys about a month and a half, 2 months ago, after the I-15 freeway had washed out, and that's near where you go. Discovered that the road to Carp had washed out and actually blew 3 tires on my FJ Cruiser on the way there. Pro tip here, AAA will not pick you up off a dirt road. So
that's actually no, because I'm the one time I did have to get picked up. Yeah, it was a situation similar to that.
So I had to drive on flat tires for 30 miles to get back to cell coverage and pavement. But then they did pick me up. So, but that portal is pretty memorable as a result. Great anchor, great blocker, great spot.
Interesting. That did you like try to give them coordinates to pick you up, or did you have an actual address? How'd that work?
I described the road that you take to get there. So, on this exit, take the second left, and the guy
you should just tell them to.
By the way,
install Ingress.
I recruited the driver. He's now a resistance player. So.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, that third portal when you go past that intersection, that's where I'm at. Yeah.
Exactly. Something like that.
All right. Well, just a reminder to the folks watching, we have enabled the Q&A tool. I see some very persistent questions. We'll get to them in a second, flowing in. But if you have a question you want to ask Bill or Eric, who's coming up, feel free to type it there. Just remember to type @ and then the guest's name so we know who you want to direct it to. And we'll get to those in just a second. So with that being said, Bill, Ingress has become a real community building experience for many of us. Do you have a story you could share about how the community in your area sort of come together?
You know, there's a fairly decent divide between factions here, so we don't do a whole lot of cross-faction stuff, but inter-faction, we've really come together and bonded pretty well, I think. There's a group of original players from way back December, January timeframe when the game just started in a section of town off of a road called Cheyenne, and we got nicknamed the Cheyenne Mafia. I live nowhere near it, but they made me an honorary Cheyenne Mafia member, and that group, we're still pretty tight. All of us, there's 6 or 7 of us, and we still see each other very regularly. We've done a number of Ingress outings together that were great. They're able to take my daughter Ingress trip just recently, and we did a 16-mile hike in order to get to one portal. And so those kinds of things are just awesome. Big backpacking trip. So.
Wow, fun. That's a good idea over here. All right, well, okay, so not going out there necessarily, but maybe staying in. We recently had Ingress had just posted the challenge for agents to tweet in 7 words about what Ingress is. What, if you didn't do it, what would have been your description in a nutshell? And it doesn't have to be just 7 words here. We're flexible of what Ingress means to you.
And I'm, as one of the level 16s, there was a bit of a, not backlash, but not terribly supportive. And so I'm not opposed to Innovator Badge. I'm fine with it. I think you have to work really hard to get to 15, so that's fine. But,
yeah.
But I also agreed with a couple of them that, okay, I wouldn't post 7 words. But if I was to post 7 words, so I kind of just abstained from that. But if I was to post 7 words, it would be life-changing, get me off the couch.
Nice.
That would have been retweeted.
Some people actually stay on their couch and play Ingress.
That's true. And no, they're valuable members too.
That's frequently been the way my fields die.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Fortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, not good.
Spoofers.
Well, besides Ingress and your couch, what do you do on your spare time, Bill?
I like outdoor activities, so like I said, I just did a lengthy backpacking trip down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon. Big in photography, so I've got a couple of DSLRs. It's funny, a lot of locations for these remote portals are places I was already familiar with in advance. I happen to own more than one house, and my family lives at my house that's not in Las Vegas. It's about 300 miles away from here. So my commute is 300 miles, and I drive it twice a week to go see the family, and I'm able to capture every portal basically across the state of Nevada as a result. And so just doing that drive, getting outdoors, seeing the desert, camping, photography, those would be my other hobbies.
Nice. Okay, so since you bring up the photography aspect, I have to ask, Nikon or Canon?
Pentax.
Hey.
Interesting. Oh, that is quite cool.
So,
Cool.
extensive lens collection. You don't want me to start pulling that off here, but.
I know. I'm looking out for those sales to expand on mine, but Syntax. All right. Well, then that's like Red Faction to me.
That's right.
All right, so back to Ingress. We hear that there was an epic and very lengthy battle fought over Artifact 1 during, gosh, was it Recursion or Helios or no? I don't even remember way back then. But can you tell us a little bit more? Maybe you remember which thing it was.
It's all of our nightmares. But
yes.
So yeah, that's experience we won't forget.
God.
The Enlightened, or the Artifact 1 made it to Austin and hung out there for a while. And then the Enlightened actually stole it, and we're trying to get it to Cupid Span there in the Bay Area in San Francisco. And they shipped it to southern Utah as a stop along the way. My parents live in southern Utah, and I happened to be on my way there when that occurred. So I made a quick detour, found a portal through a blocking link that basically went from the entire length of the state of Utah so that they could go no further west. I called the agent that's based out of St. George that I've worked with a number of times, Evil Optimist, and said, hey, you need to meet me. We're going to Hurricane. We linked up. We went to Hurricane where the artifact was and battled over it there basically all night for 6 hours. A number of other resistance agents from Las Vegas, so the LVR came up, helped us steal it from there, and we sent it down to Boulder City where we dominated, and that was our farm. Turned out that was a mistake because the Enlightened showed up before we could move it on, and it turned into a 52-hour battle before we were able to finally move it along. Yeah, 52 hours manning it, and we also caused controversy. Sorry about that, but I shipped it onto the Nevada test site where they tested nuclear bombs, and it was inaccessible to everybody except one Las Vegas resistance agent. And by the way, I've now been there. There is a tour, and you can go. So I've been there. I have pictures and photos to show that. But we shipped it on there. Niantic contacted us. That was our first opportunity to work with Joe Filey and Brian Rose, as they told us, you need to get it out of there and you need to do it now. We were moving keys and didn't have time, so they moved it out for us. And the battle continued before Arizona thankfully accepted that we could ship it to them, and we moved it on.
You know, I was actually on the other end of that in the chat rooms, helping coordinate people driving and everything, and I gotta say that was, although I don't think I ever want to relive it, that was pretty exciting when it was going on.
It was. At the time, it was all brand new, and
right.
We thought, man, it's so cool to get an artifact, and then we did. Or I guess shard, right, at the time?
Yeah.
So cool to get a shard, and then we did, and we thought, why did we ever want this? This is horrible.
No.
A brand new agent show up, and he went from level 2 to level 5 on one portal.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting time. A little shout out to Evie of the Enlightened, who I think ushered it for I don't know how many days, like 4 or 5 days on end, sleeping in her car. So thank God that hasn't landed back home again or since, because oh my gosh. So.
Yeah, we discovered the leaking problem, and we're able to demonstrate Niantic to get that fixed, and fortunately they were able to correct that. But we probably wouldn't have been stuck for 52 hours if linking had worked, because we tried over and over. Yeah.
All right, well, talking about some fun things with viewers and people we know, you up for some viewer questions?
Sure.
All right. There's one question here that somebody really wants you to answer because I think they posted it like 4 times now, 3 times.
Is it BCYTID?
No, this is actually Miss Jackalope, Dana Sterling herself.
Oh, yeah.
Would like to know what were you doing last night?
Oh my God.
I anointing the portals. Now trust me,
one more time?
I was anointing a portal.
Okay.
Okay.
He's laughing
Can we
right
get
now,
a
even
little
though
more details?
we went out last night because Vegas happens to be a connected cell currently, and put up a 4-layer bath over Vegas that stayed for 3 checkpoints. So we've got a decent score right now.
So you don't take a bottle of champagne and like crack it against some graffiti wall or something like that when you anoint it? Something different.
Pretty similar, yeah.
Okay, all right.
It does involve fluid, and it does end up on the ground.
I'm going to glance over that one and we'll move into the next question. We try to keep it a PG show. Even when we do topless shows, you can't really see anything, so we'll just move on. Wow, lots of good questions actually from Dana, but I am going to skip down, and John Aslin, I hope I'm saying his last name right, wants to know, how many miles do you drive in a week?
1,200 to 1,500.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Do you have a hybrid, or do you have a diesel? Do you have
F2 Cruiser.
Yeah.
Wow. This must be
What
a
did I get about?
good job.
14 miles to the gallon? Is that about right?
No, actually, they get about 20. So
Okay.
it's not bad.
On the highway, though, does that count desert crawling up and down?
It does. It's
Okay.
between 18 and 20, depending on where I'm at. So.
All right, let's see here. Kyle T wants to know, actually, a pretty good question. With all your traveling and going around, do you collect souvenir portal keys?
I have a few. I mean, I carry a lot of keys all the time, just in general. So it's hard to keep souvenir ones, but I do have a few. I was running intel for the sniper shot from Hawaii to Austin when we delivered a number of artifacts home there. And so I was in Austin and visited Stevie Ray Vaughan, and I've actually kept a souvenir key for Stevie Ray Vaughan. When I went to the Bay Area chasing uniques, I grabbed the Cupid Span key, because of course the artifacts there. And there was a portal in Denmark that somebody just happened to randomly drop in the middle of nowhere, Nevada, that was entitled Resistance, and so I've kept that one as a souvenir. I've kept a few for my critical bath anchors that were of significant size or excitement. But yeah, so I do keep a few portal keys. I do wish that Niantic would, give us like a capsule that doesn't count against inventory, that could just hold. You could put keys into it, but not pull them out, and they could just be for souvenir. Yeah, so you could go look at them.
That would be cool. I agree. As somebody who has literally traveled the world and played Ingress in a lot of places, that would be nice. I do have a lot of souvenirs. And I'm really jealous about the Stevie Ray Vaughan one, because I know exactly what statue, where it's at, what it looks like, and it is on my bucket list to go there and get that.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Excellent. All right, we'll do two quick more questions here. Let's see. Dana also wants to ask, what is the strangest way you have met new Ingress players?
Oh. There's all kinds of strange ways. I'll give her answer, which is I was helping somebody level to aid in a park, and we're there fielding and linking, and all of a sudden these links start appearing on the edge of the park, shooting all the way across. I knock on the window, and that's where I met Miss Jackalope. That has been repeated more than with other new agents in Vegas, but probably the strangest one recently was for Unity 1. Enlightened was trying to cover California, and I happened to be on my way back to my house 300 miles away. I identified, hey, it looks like they're linking from a portal that's not that far from me. I diverted, pulled up about 9 p.m. in Death Valley, in a 4-mile dirt road, vegan-only portal, opened the door to my car, and had the 2 Enlightened agents on site immediately say, hey, first degree. By the way, the field did not go up.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But just the fact I pulled up, we've never met, they didn't know me, but somebody appearing in the middle of nowhere in the middle of the night for Ingress, and they guessed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you what's the reaction when you tell, or do you even tell people who don't play Ingress these stories? Do they say, "Wait a minute, I'm sorry, you met somebody in the middle of the night, like in a park in the desert? What?"
Um, I do tell them and tell them how awesome it is. So that
Do they
includes
believe you?
all kinds of people. Yeah.
All right, so the last one I'm hoping is going to be a quick answer. I don't know. Maybe I'm hoping for a long answer. It seems kind of interesting. John also would like to know, what did you do with Jan?
Oh,
Okay.
you know, back to that
Is that the body
body
in the desert? Wait.
it's just that it's actually we don't know exactly what happened to Jan, but it is a fact. I was the last one to see him. We the first Pony Rider field that I was involved with, they were throwing from an anchor in Boulder City. We needed to make it a level 8 portal, and the local player name was Jan. He needed to ride to Boulder City, so I said I'd be happy to take you out there. He was a professional poker player, or hopefully is still a professional poker player. He was telling me on the ride out how somebody owed him lots of money in the $60,000-$70,000 range, and that he was going to pick it up that night. So we went out, we upgraded the portal, they threw their links, created the large field over Utah. I drove him back and dropped him off at a shady motel in downtown Las Vegas, and he's never been seen since. But I'm the only one who can prove that's what actually happened. So.
All
Yeah,
right.
again, the Vegas cliches.
I'm assuming not the 60,000 good life somewhere. So, anyway.
You never know. All right, so you're pleading your case, but you can certainly have the opportunity to plead some more. Something that we've been doing here on the show is letting our guests have an open floor for, I don't know, 30 to 60 seconds. Feel free to continue about pleading your innocence or anything else you might want to share.
You know, really, I would probably just like to take the few seconds to thank Niantic. That it really has been a game-changing experience for me. It's life-changing experience for me. It's really more than a game. That 300-mile drive that I make it very late in the evenings. I make it really early in the mornings, and and other driving that I've had to do, and it now gives me something interesting to do other than see blackness as I drive through the middle of nowhere in the state of Nevada, and it really has enriched my life. Places that I drove by twice a week for 4 years but never diverted to go and see. Now there's a portal there I've diverted, and I realized just what an amazing place Nevada is in some of the remote spots. And I thought it was amazing before, but even more so now. And just thank you, Niantic, and all of the employees there. I know that, hey, I can be their horriblest critic, and if you look at my G+ posts, I'm not shy about speaking up when I think there are issues. But by the same token, I only do it because I love it, and I do appreciate the fact they put it out there.
Excellent. Well said.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Bill. It's great
thanks, Bill.
talking to you, learning more about the game over there, and not just keeping the stories there. So I appreciate you being on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Let's see. What do we got coming up next? We have Eric X from Massachusetts, and there's a video playing somewhere. I hear softcore porn music. I don't know what that is. I think it's gone. It's a way to unwind after his interview. We appreciate it there, Bill. Thanks. But now we're going to go to the section of the show that we call the Code of the Show. That's my drum roll. So here we go. Let's see. Does it pop up? Does it appear? Does it appear? Where is it? Can you see it?
Come on, come on.
Where did it go? There it is! It's right there. My video, of course, is now lagging all of a sudden.
Oh, no.
The Shapers don't want you to see it, don't want you to have it. But there it is, folks, the code of the show. We don't know what it is. We don't know how many of you can redeem it. You should be able to reshare it. Some of these only have 50 redeems. Some of these have 5,000. We don't know. There you go. Try your luck. Enjoy the level 1 bursters. All right.
Yeah, Ultra Strikes. Yeah.
Ooh, I'll take Ultra Strikes. That'll work.
Level 1.
So,
Well, okay. Now that you changed the code, oh, in-game, you know him as Lucky Dragon. Meet Boston Zone Eric X. Thanks for joining us.
hello.
I guess this is awesome.
Nah, thanks for filling in last minute, man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, right.
So,
I feel bad for Don Musto. I guess he's road tripping to New Orleans as we speak, as I understand it. Anyway. No, I'm kind of like, I'm not exactly that sympathetic. It's pretty awesome, really.
Exactly. It's either there or Vegas. Yeah.
So what people don't know is we actually have like an outline and a script, and we try to do some research on the people that we're going to talk to. And admittedly, I've had a pretty crazy week, so Daphne and Jorge have been kind enough to help me out and fill in. I have no idea what the hell this first question means or says or what it's about, so I'm just going to read it verbatim, and hopefully you can elaborate. So, having sex with a lobster. That seems more difficult than weird. Could you please explain?
Oh my God. I guess that one probably came via Daphne, but anyway, yeah, I think Daphne had asked me to say like some things that I am interested in outside of the game of Ingress, and one thing that is kind of unusual about me, I don't have that much of a tech background. I'm more of an arts tech, and I wrote this poem about having sex with a lobster, and I published it in a magazine. It's a sonnet, no less. I wish I had it here. I would read it for you guys, but yeah, that is a true story. I mean, it's true that I wrote a poem. It's not actually true that I had sex with the lobster, just to be clear.
Okay.
More like imagining, I guess, what it would be like.
I don't even know where to go with that. Where did it get published? Where did you have it?
At a magazine up in Maine called Off the Coast. You know, they have good taste down Maine, I guess. I figured I could force them to publish it if I wrote something like that, and it worked.
I'm going to research it to find it so we can read it.
I can help you out. I'll send you a link after, man. It's all good.
All right.
All right. Well, Eric, yo. First of all, thanks for being here tonight. It's early for you, though. I gotta say, I wasn't sure if you're gonna be, particularly around. Normally, our conversations tend to be a little bit later. Can you tell us what you do for a living and how you became such a nocturnal person?
Yes, I'm a thoroughly nocturnal person. I run a little business. I have kind of a background in joint ventures and technology and stuff, but now I like to help people, and some of the people that I help are based in Japan, and so it requires me to be up late at very strange hours. I keep basically nocturnal hours, but that kind of suits me, and it suits my Ingress habit too. I think a lot of interesting things in Ingress happen in the middle of the night, so I feel like it's become kind of a part of my identity now, even if I weren't working with people in Japan and India, I would still probably keep the late night hours.
Okay, well, that's weird. I'm also nocturnal, but because I have insomnia, so I think it's a little bit different. But what is different? It's Joe. What is Joe?
Yo is an app. Like, yeah, I like your pronunciation better, Joel. Like Joel. We're gonna go to that from now on. Like, Yo's app. I mean, I guess I've become like a spokesperson for this thing, like for Yo. Like, I wasn't officially the person to introduce my local faction to it, but it's taken on. It's kind of like it's got a life of its own, and I guess I'm kind of associated with this product now. But yeah, it's a social network. It only sends 0-character messages, so it just sends a Yo. There's no other context or any other information delivered. Just Yo. So I mean, I've been
Wow.
trying to use it for ops and ingress. It's really great. Like, you can say like link on the Yo. Like, I mean, that's like I've been trying to sneak it into the game as much as I can. I'm gonna move our whole faction eventually over to just using Yo. I feel like people don't need to say that much. 0 characters should be fine.
You know what? If we're now able to speak in 140 characters, why not just 2?
Oh yeah, or 0, right? Just Yo. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like a lot is implied with that. I mean, it depends on the time of day, who I'm yoing, like who's yoing me back. So yeah, it is funny. It's funny to get a bunch of Yos.
For like April
And we
Fools
do it
or
on
maybe
comms too. I mean,
Oh, yes, we do.
I'm sorry, April Fools. Yeah, we do it on
for
comms too.
April.
We blow up comms with it. I think that's an outstanding use of faction comms. Really, like faction comms. I think people have a sort of mistaken thought that it's somehow useful for anything secure, which of course it isn't. But it's great to fill up with just garbage. I mean, it's terrific, really.
I
You
was
know
just
what
gonna
I
say.
love? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say for April Fools or Halloween, can you maybe change it to Hodor?
Yeah, there is one. There is a Yo.
Character.
Yo's a
Is there really?
Or a Yo. Yep,
Nice.
No, I
that's
love
amazing. Yep,
other towns and, and being greeted by yo
Yo.
in the comms. Yeah, it's just, I know exactly what
Actually, there's a Yo Hangout, which is technically cross faction. Anyone who wants in is welcome in. I mean, it's just Yo. That's all it is. Just people write Yo, but it's kind of more of a group Yo. You can Yo everybody at once, and some people try to get cut for the O or like, something that might be like a Y, but like it's hard to find just the right thing. It's mostly just Yo.
The Yo with
wants
flair.
to be
I think
added.
somebody Yo'd like 37 times in a row the other day.
Nice.
I'm adding
So-
Andrew and Jorge on right now. Feel free to.
Oh my god.
Thank God my notifications are muted for the show.
Yeah. Me
Yeah,
too.
mine too. I think you guys told me to shut my phone off. Like, you know me well enough to say shut your phone off, Eric.
All right, well let's get back into talking about the game in a bit for a bit. You were, I guess.
Hello?
Where's Andrew?
Oh no!
We lost
Uh-oh.
him.
All right, fine. I'm going to take over.
Yeah.
All right, I know what he was going to ask. He was going to ask about some time he spent in Venezuela in a very rare situation. Was it secrets, or can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I got shipwrecked off of Venezuela. That's the secret situation. There was a little boat, like a 50-foot boat with 6 of us, and the boat got shipwrecked, and it turned into a little thing. Like, it split up along nationality lines. There were 2 Americans, 2 Swiss, and 2 Italians on the boat. So, like, it's kind of like the beginning of a bad joke, I guess.
Oh, but it's just going to
But,
seem like an international Noah's Ark.
Yeah, like you would think it would be like that, but yeah, pretty much people split along sort of national stereotype lines is exactly how they reacted, in an extreme situation like that. The 2 Italians chose to relax, enjoy the moment, sunbathe, and sort of, find this wonderful experience just for all that it was. The 2 Swiss guys basically argued, and the 2 Americans got us the hell off the island.
Oh
That
my
was
god.
what happened.
That's amazing, actually.
True story.
Wow, that's really cool. You can't make that up.
No. I mean, we made them like the other American was like somebody that I went to college with, a good friend, and like she and I made everybody write like inside this. We turned the cereal box inside out. We're like on this boat, and we made everybody write down like their commitment that what they would do. Like we sort of came up with a plan, and we got everyone's buy off. And then when like we finally got the little plane to land on the beach to rescue us, like that's when Christina, the Italian, announces that she's afraid of little planes and she can't get on it, which was the plan that she'd signed off on. So like, it took a lot of managing of people to
Wow,
get everyone safely back to the port.
I gotta say that's incredibly fascinating. I mean, like just your use of, in a way, American culture and psychology to get everyone through this.
Long
Impressive.
story short, though, I've never gone on a sailboat again ever. That was it. That was a once.
Yeah, no more 3-hour tours.
No, absolutely not. I got called Gilligan for like a year after that.
Okay. All right. Now, something else. Well, you called yourself a socializing gamer. And what kind of ways do you socialize in the game? Like, I don't know, meetups,
Yeah,
events?
I mean, look, like test, right? The Bartle test of like gamer type. I I don't know if you guys have taken this. Like, it's sort of like a personality survey for gamers. I have no gaming background prior to Ingress, so like I'm kind of clueless when it comes to this. I don't play any stay-at-home video games at all. Like, it's just not my particular passion. So like I had to learn what kind of gamer type I am by like starting to play a game. Like, this is the first video game I've ever really engaged with. Um, and yeah, so like Bartle came back telling me that I'm like 75% socializer and the rest like killer, I guess, and that sort of suits, I guess, how I feel about Ingress. So the socializer aspect, like it used to be recruiting. That was sort of the main thing, was getting people into the game, organizing events for the local faction. Frankly, taking people out drinking a lot. It's sort of a good way to build community. Um, but recently I've transferred that passion to more the organizing side of things, and pretty much Megafields like fulfills the same passion in me, same kind of idea. Like get people interested in something, try to bring people together in pursuit of something heroic and interesting, and make friends.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
Very cool. Well, now that we're talking about Ingress, for you, level 1 to 7 are just like training, and 8 is like your graduation day. So tell us, when did you start playing Ingress, and did you have any Jedi Master who trained you?
Yes, I certainly did. Thank you. That's an awesome question. I started in February of 2013. It was a very, very, very cold February night. And I got recruited to this game by a friend I went to college with, Agent. Well, she's now Cakeley out of Chicago. She's kind of a famous faction switching agent, but she was Enlightened at the time. She sent me the invite code, and I said, well, what am I supposed to do? Like, how do I learn this game? And she said, well, contact your local faction, tell them that you're new, that you want to start, power leveling. I didn't even know what power leveling was, really, because like that was all new to me. And the agent who adopted me early on and is still kind of like a mentor to me is Minja. And she's a Boston agent. I think she's over 100 million AP right now.
Yep.
Wow.
Actually, I know she's over 100 million. I don't know how far over 100 million, but anyway, so yeah, she's always managed to stay like, considerably ahead of me in everything, so it gives me something to aspire to. But yeah, Minja took me out, leveled me from 1 to 4 at the Museum of Fine Arts Boston on a really insanely cold February night. She said that she wouldn't go out if it was below 32 degrees. That was what she said, and it was 17 that night. So I appreciated the extra effort of being out there. But yeah, I got from like 1 to 4 that night, and then pretty much my teammates and I kind of leveled each other up. I think back then people had to level each other up much more than they do now. I kind of miss that about the olden days.
Nice. Well, you guys
Is
have
it
some
bad to
hardy.
talk about the olden days?
I know, really. Like what, a year ago? I guess.
like 18 months ago. It feels like a century.
Seriously.
Yeah, it seems like a long, long, long time since this began, and well, I feel old already. But well,
Yeah, old in the game, right? I mean, we're like 100, all of us.
yeah, sure. It's like, I don't know. It's so many changes in the game and in the storyline and everything that it's like it enlarged the time for of Ingress.
Those are the days.
Are you there, Andrew?
It
Yeah,
looks like he's back.
something's weird in the neighborhood.
It's
Call some-
live.
Yeah.
Shapers.
No, I lost all audio, so I apologize. I have no idea what you guys are saying.
You're actually, you know, you can ask about the, the area of where you live.
Ah, yes. Okay. So hey, Eric, you live in a
Hey, Andrew,
very.
I can't actually see you, man.
That's all right. That's all right. We'll
Oh, I
work on
see you
that
now.
later.
There you go.
It's the beard. It's the beard.
We see him.
Yeah, as long as I can hear you, that's good. It's hard to hear the question I ask if you can't actually hear me. So anyway, I think we got it worked out. You live in a pretty cool area full of remote islands and a military base with, and I just learned this tonight, snow-covered mountains nearby. I didn't think you guys had any mountains up there. So how is playing Ingress over there, specifically in the winter times? What's it like?
So, I mean, I feel like I'm the head of the AM01-Mike01 Tourism Bureau. I do like to represent our cell. Like, I figured out that, like, you know, when this new geography came out of the cells, I was like, wow, that is better than any geography that we already had. Like, I don't have to say Eastern Massachusetts or Southern New Hampshire. I'm just like, if you're in Mike 01, then, like, we have to, you know, we have to work with each other. So, you know, I made it up. I was like, okay, the middle of the cell, the town at the exact center of our cell is called Derry, New Hampshire. Boston, on the other hand, just a great big city. It's all the way at the bottom. And so, like, New Hampshire is, our cell is suddenly all about New Hampshire. I consider Derry, New Hampshire to be the box capital, like the cell capital. I just, you know, whatever place is at the center of the cell should be the cell capital, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, okay, well, our highest point is Mount Washington, which is a really, really, really tall mountain. The highest winds ever recorded are at the summit of Mount Washington. And we have ocean, we have parts of Maine, we have parts of Massachusetts. So, like, you know, from a fielding perspective, it's kind of amazing for me. I mean, for Helios Boston, we were able to field the city using 2 different island portals and a military base. And I was really, you know, kind of proud of us for getting that done. But I was also really proud of the resistance for, you know, like getting onto the military base to wreck it. It took them a few hours to kind of figure it out, and it's not the sort of place that anyone just walk in. You definitely have to have some kind of military ID to go there. But, you know, they brought some agents down, and they were able to take that down, but not before we kept the field up for the first 2 clusters and won the Boston Helios. I think, you know, partially as a result of the field. Obviously, partially as a result of the awesome groundwork.
Okay.
So yeah, it's interesting for us having a great big city at the edge of the box and a city that we can't really very easily field. The density in New England, I don't know if you guys have, well, I know Daphne's been up here for sure, but our portal density is insane. And it means that sort of getting that third link around the city is always, you know, a heroic effort by whoever does it. Doesn't matter which faction, it's the same, you know, same kind of effort.
Okay.
We can use the water, you know, we get a freebie, right, with the water. And then we have to, you know, think about where the third anchor is going to be. It's always challenging.
Cool, I hear that. But, you know, I mean, fielding is your thing. And before you and I got the opportunity to meet, I mean, I knew you, you know, you're kind of like one of those go-to guys talking about fields. And, well, I'm not going to share. What do you want to share here on the show about your fielding expertise?
Sorry, you want me to talk about fielding? That's my favorite topic, Daphne. I love talking.
I know it is. So, but you know, for me, it's secrets. So, you know, I'm going to let you reveal whatever you'd like to reveal. Except that, I mean,
Everything is secrets for Daphne.
Secrets.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, there's no secret about anything that's happened in the past. I think there's kind of, you know, a friendly rivalry starting up. Like, it was very slow at first in Boston to get people into mega fields. Like, for a while, there were only, like, you know, maybe a half dozen Enlightened people that were kind of into it. And I don't know if it's just like, you know, Boston's such a great city for Ingress. There is such an aggressive and wonderful ground game and such great portal density that people just don't need to think about larger fields as part of it. But Niantic's been pushing us in the direction, fortunately, I think, of, you know, fields counting more and MU suddenly mattering more. And, you know, I mean, I grew up, you know, sort of watching the fields of, you know, the great fielders of places like China and the Philippines. I found that stuff really inspiring, how they could really put the MU on the board by, you know, sort of mastering the layers, you know, to get like 10 layers over Beijing. You know, that's no small accomplishment in terms of MU count. It's really, extremely impressive. And I remember like, watching like the early days and saying, well, gee, like, why don't we do that in America? Why don't we do giant fields like that with multiple layers? And over time, I think that what started to happen is that we do giant fields with multiple layers. So I'm terribly excited about that. I look at all these wonderful, wonderful small New England towns. I added 100 portals in a little town on Cape Cod this summer. I added another 100 portals in a like small New Hampshire town. Like, I'm kind of thinking about, is this a runway for mega fields? Like, can I, basically just like line up the layers with Boston, look at towns that have beautiful main streets, line farms, and great orientation with our beautiful city, and try to layer from there. So sometimes it's a matter of just traveling around the region, finding towns, adding them, and as I travel, I meet agents, and that's basically how the mega field thing gets started. I have to physically sort of move around the region a lot just to get to know the like hardworking agents in the different areas. So when it's go time, I have excellent people to call, because I can't micromanage like on some small scale. Also, frankly, this is an area with a lot of history, and the states kind of are very autonomous from each other, even though we have little states, Massachusetts and New Hampshire and Rhode Island and Connecticut. They all have their own enlightened, like their own sort of flavor of things. And I don't like to ever sort of tell any other agent. I mean, to the point that Jorge made, I don't like to tell people how to play the game. I just like to sort of put something out there and say, would this be fun? Would you guys be into it? That's sort of my my style, I guess, of getting things done, is try to get buy-in from locals. Simple, like ideally I shouldn't need myself at all, right? Like if my job is done perfectly, I shouldn't be needed. That's kind of how I view it, and increasingly that's been the case. I'm excited to say like I'm not the only person now fielding. There's a large decent regional mega field op that went down last weekend that basically I had almost nothing to do with. It was organized by other people. That made me extremely happy. I think my happiest day will come when I see a green field over Boston that I had nothing to do with and didn't even know about. Like that's when I know we're truly where I want us to be with the fielding.
Well, but you are not just a field lover. You also love artifacts. What the hell with you, man? Most of
I mean, we're all supposed to, right? We're all supposed to hate them.
Hate it. What did you?
I find it like extremely relaxing.
Things.
Like, I mean, one thing about the artifacts is that they tend to move in the middle of the night, which is, those are hours when I like to be out, and playing the game. So that's good for me personally. Like they meet my time schedule. Also, it's a really great way for regional agents to get involved in the game. I mean, to get, a ton of exposure, a ton of excitement going in a sleepy area like Vermont, which doesn't get a huge amount of turnover compared to, say, Boston. Those guys were super helpful in moving artifacts around. And they were willing to stay up late and drive hundreds of miles in the snow and do all kinds of amazing things. Whereas, my Boston teammates, they have this campaign, FTSG, F the Shards game. And they, if I ask for help with an artifact, immediately they come back FTSG or whatever. Like, I'm getting a T-shirt made that says FTSG. I love the Shards game. Like, it's great for me. There's not that many people that feel the way I do, but I'm all right with that. It's been a great way to get to know regional agents in places like Cape Cod, Vermont, that are also useful for mega fields and other stuff. So, I mean, it has kind of a dual purpose, I think, like the long links, the key exchange, the extreme hard work laid by rural agents. Like that's what I like about the artifacts game. Plus the people that manage it with me, that manage the movement of these things, guys like Musto, who was supposed to be on tonight, and other people, I figure like they're kind of like coworkers at this point. That's how I view them.
Speaking of that, we you and I need to maybe get together after this, but we won't go into the details because Jorge's
we're gonna field the country, man. We're gonna field America.
Now you got two, yeah.
Yeah, don't go. Please don't go into details because I'm the only one here, right?
No.
We're gonna field Mexico City.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
Fabulous.
Whatever.
From Maine. We're going to do it from Maine.
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, speaking of all these different places, I mean, traveling, and it's been mentioned here before that traveling is part of, why when you talk about the personalities, I mean, I'm certainly a traveler gamer because like you, I mean, I've not ever really played games other than Tetris or Solitaire. But I love to meet people everywhere I go, and one of my favorite memories was finally getting to meet you in person. It's because you travel around a lot too, and you've talked about a global culture developing around Ingress. How do you see the Ingress world when it touches on the reality point?
The Ingress world, I caught the last. It touches on the reality. Did you say? Sorry, I
Yes.
missed the last part of
Yeah.
it,
So
Daphne. But
yes, I know. It kind of went on a tangent just because it gets philosophical even when you and I talk.
no,
But
it's all good. I mean, I got it. Look, I mean, this summer I had a kind of like one of the best experiences I've had in the game. I was in Madrid this summer, um, and I think you've been there too, Daphne, right? Or at least over to
I was in Portugal
parts
when
of
we
Europe.
got to Madrid, but I remember it was weird. We were kind of in that same time zone.
Yeah, I remember that. I thought that was strange, but yeah, the Madrid Enlightened, they were so great, and like, I let them know that I was going, and they got some keys for me, of course, which was cool. But I mean, they were like, yeah, let's we'll show you the port, and they had me meet them in this a housing project, like public housing project on the outskirts of the city. I had to take two subways and like the second one to the end of the line and then like a bus and get to this like really sketchy place, and it had 200 excellent graffiti portals.
Wow.
Like everyone was graffiti. They're like I would never in a million years have like known that part of Madrid, right? And it was an extremely interesting farm, and like the Smurf came, and like you know what you do in Madrid when the Smurfs come? You kiss them if they're female. Everybody like kissed the Smurf. I was like, wow, this is incredible. Like
Wow, I want to go there.
we do not kiss our opponents in this game for the most part. I feel like we're missing an opportunity.
Yeah.
That.
Um, so like in one night in Madrid, I got to go to a housing project. I got to kiss a Smurf. And then and then the best is I was like, okay, guys, like, well, they're like, Eric, do you mind like getting some dinner with us? Like, I was like, mind? I'm like, of course, I want to go wherever you guys go. Like, show me everything. They're like, you really want to go where we go? I'm like, yeah, really. Like, let's go. They're like, you sure? I'm like, yeah. Burger King. That's where we freaking went. That's where they
Nice.
go. They go to Burger King. They're like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah.
Was there anything different about that Burger King?
Like El Rey del Burger? No, it was the same, exactly the same, except that it was all in
All
Spanish.
right. This
It
okay.
was hilarious. But yeah, we got to sit outside in this beautiful, in this beautiful square in Madrid and eat our burgers. El Whopper, right? It was just really, it was great. But yeah, they taught me how to play the game in Spanish. Like I learned a few verbs.
And, you and
The
Jorge.
hack portal, hackear, like it was pretty funny.
All right. So
Anyway, the point is, I guess whatever city you land in, like the people are awesome. End of story. Like that's kind of been my experience. It's what motivates me to get out and play more.
that's so true. Absolutely. All right. So given your travels, even some of our travels together, I've got to ask, what's your UPV now?
10,000, I don't know, 100 and something. Like I dinged Plat Explorer Garrett, who's my sort of like Ingress. Like he's the most similar person to me that I know in my area in some ways. Like I feel like I don't need me if he's playing. Like like we're sort of interchangeable at times. And he took me to New York. He's chasing his Onyx Explorer. He's very close to that. He was extremely disappointed not to be the very first, but he'll be one of the very first to get that. So I tagged along with him for part of his UPV chasing, and I managed to ding on Central West at 10:21 p.m. on last Saturday night. It was basically a 20-hour day. Went to New York, like did all of Brooklyn, east side of Manhattan, and like got on a bus back to Boston. Got home at like 5 o'clock in the morning. It was totally worth it though.
Great, but amazing. But that's really cool. And yes,
Such a
right, like
grind.
another platinum explorer here.
So we asked the question to Bill. Let me ask it to you. How many miles do you drive in a week?
Well, that's different. I drive 0 miles in the week. I don't have a car.
How
I
many, how
think
many
almost no
miles
one in
do you
Boston has a car.
travel? How many miles do you
Yeah, the
travel?
fact is, like, I mean, it's a cool question, but like my travel, when I look at my Google location, I love that Google location tracking service. Do you guys all use that as
Every once in a
frequently as
while.
well?
Yeah.
It's always on, so like if I need to know where I was 30 days ago, like if I captured something, or if I'm just trying to find a keeper or something of my own, I can look back in my location history and see what I do. And what it turns out that I do is orbit the city of Boston like a lot. I mean, we have really maximized the use of public transportation in our city. I mean, transit farming is our thing. I've now tried to make it a nationwide thing, spread the word into other cities to get people to build up, bus routes with portals. We have one bus line in particular, the Gear Bus. It's 150 portals. We try to keep it level 8 in the wintertime anyway. The summer we don't bother, but in winter, not everybody. I mean, I love to get out in the snow. I have all my foul weather gear. I do snow farms like in the blizzard, like farm it. But not everybody, likes to do that. So what I do, the answer to answer the miles in the week, I orbit via like public transportation, bus lines. I try to like avoid the subway and take the bus or the streetcar as much as I can, and it is possible to hack thousands of portals a week by doing that in Boston, just normally getting around town.
It's pretty
So
epic.
I guess we're a very green city that way, very green.
I've heard rumors of a certain famous bus route hack. So next time I come up there, I'll have to ride that.
Yes, you do.
There's a song and everything. Like there's a song. A Gear Bus has its own song.
Nice,
That
nice.
sounds also like a really cool mission to accomplish.
Huh.
The Gear Bus mission, or just like a transit farm. Yeah, I think that's a really,
Yeah,
really
like you have to go from one place to another, but just using the public transport.
I don't know that there'd be a way to enforce that though. How would you know if they just use public transportation?
That's true.
Well,
you just
because
offer people the option.
yeah, it's the option, but you can link some places. So you have to take that way. I don't know.
All right. Well, Eric, you ready for some viewer questions?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, there's that passcode. I'm gonna write it down while taking questions.
Yeah, I guess it didn't pop. I've got
I
gremlins
love
tonight. I don't know.
Power Cube.
Is that what they are? We should all type it into our phone right now and see what happens. Let's see.
My phone is off. Damn.
You're a good host. Your phone should be off. Let's see what
No.
happens.
Oh my God! Really?
Anyway.
Are you really putting that code in your phone?
Oh my God! That's amazing. All right, I won't share it.
Well,
You'll just have to redeem it yourself.
I'm not jealous of your level 1 resonators.
You should be. I will wake you up and just keep pinging your portals with level 1 resonators. All right, let's move on. Let's get to Eric because the show isn't about us. From another Hangout, Dan Bailey would like to know, what's the biggest portal you've ever taken?
That is very funny. So, yeah, I'm gonna say biggest. I don't know. Okay, there's a portal in Boston that is called. This doesn't answer Dan's question at all. The biggest portal I've ever taken is definitely I guess it's like a P8, I guess, probably, if I had to say. Yeah, I'll leave it at that, I guess.
All right. Secret.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if that question was referring to like size or.
I wasn't sure either. Yeah, it was ambiguous. I was like, gee, I don't really like.
Which hangout that came from.
They're all the same size, is what to tell Dan, and you got to tell him that it's not the size that matters; it's the level, really. Like, you know what I mean? Size does matter, but like I think level matters more. Like, if I had to say.
No, what matters most is position. Where is
That is absolutely right, Jorge. It is all about the position of the portal, not its size. That is the correct answer. Thank you.
Wow.
Someone actually argued that it's the length of the link that you can make from it.
Oh my God. Andrew, go
Yeah.
with the next question, please.
He extends. That's all I have to say is he extends.
Absolutely. Order the recap all
Oh
the way,
my
baby.
God.
All right.
So Andrew, how many link camps you need?
I can only use 2, so I don't know.
Super nice.
Christopher Bowman, one of my friends, actually from Nashville, I believe, would like to know how often do you yo ingress players?
Oh boy. Well, I mean, like yo comes in. It goes in waves. Is all I can say. Like a wave yo will start. You know, like I'd say like midnight on a Saturday is a good time to start it. Like I'll sort of yo a few people in and then I mean I'll yo people in the game, and then I'll yo. And there's other ways to yo. I mean, one of my teammates, Flipdog, got a letter in the mail, and when he opened it up, it just said yo. Like what I mean is that yo can be delivered via any channel you like. It can be done via phone, email, text. I mean, and sometimes I will do a kind of like a hard yo of somebody where I will yo them on every possible channel: phone, email, text message, like Twitter, Facebook, Google Plus, Yo app, of course, Ingress comms. Like to do the whole round takes 15 minutes to get every single possible channel there is to yo somebody, but that's only for very special occasions. The routine yo probably like I'd say 10 a day, not 30.
That's excellent. By the way, there's many yos that are being yoed right now. So.
Are there? Classic. That makes me unspeakably happy. That's really great.
All right. Actually, a question that I want to ask you is, how did you actually? How did you hear about the game? How did you get started playing Ingress?
Cakely, my college friend, she wrote me she put something on her Facebook page saying, "Does anybody want an Ingress invite?" Remember invites? Does that make you guys feel old?
Yeah.
Very old.
Do you know how many pieces of art that I did?
Invites for Ingress were a great big deal. Like, oh my God, the things people used to do. That's right, for like to get an invite code. So Lindsay had a like extra invite code, and she sent me one, and but she was living in Chicago at the time, so she couldn't help me level. But yeah, I'm extremely like grateful to Cakely, even though she switched factions and is Resistance agent now. I still love her.
Excellent, good deal. And then I guess a follow-up question to that is, why did you or how did you choose Enlightened?
Well, I think that back then, like, if somebody recruited you, it was kind of bad form not to choose that faction. Like, first and foremost, there's that. But also, like, Enlightened was a bit of an underdog when I joined in Boston. I mean, I guess that everyone goes through phases of, the factions winning, the factions losing, and how do you even measure who's winning and losing? I have these really deep philosophical conversations with people about what is Ingress, like sort of how do we, what is winning at this game and all of that. But I do feel like we were kind of an underdog when I joined, and I mean, in the local ground game sense of underdog, where it was just like we would count up the portals in the greater Boston area, count up the P7s at the time, or P6s. I think we cared about 6 and higher back then. That's what we would do. We'd count up 6, 7s, and 8s and say, like, okay, that's our, like, our PJIA. We had a metric for, like, what percentage of the 6s, 7s, and 8s in Boston did we have, and we were kind of losing. So, it was fun to play for the underdog, and then we started winning really hard, and now I think we're evenly matched. If I had to guess, we're probably evenly matched in Boston. What I did, though, I did the ultimate sort of, like, Ingress move. I physically moved my house, like, across the river into an all-blue area, kind of on purpose, like, for Ingress. I mean, like, I that's been great. It's been great for me. It's been great for my ability to play. Have more fun with it. Is to live in a blue area where I'm the sort of like one of only sort of 2 active Enlightened, versus 8 to 10 resistance agents that are all pretty good. So I just have to play harder, and that's been a fun challenge for me.
Wow, that is pretty cool. So you make the difference there.
I mean, if I stop playing, it's not going to make any difference either, right? Everything will just, if we all stop playing, it'll all just reset to unclaimed, right? That's the beautiful thing about
Oh
Ingress.
yeah.
If you know what I mean, if anything,
Right
it knocks
now,
itself down. That's kind of like what I love.
right now there is not important, but at the beginning you were important there, and you put your piece of the puzzle.
It is true. I think one agent can make a huge difference to change the character of a neighborhood. Um, but my ideal neighborhood is a place like Harvard Square here in Boston. Like it changes hands, 7 times a day. For me, that's perfect. Like that, I like to see a constant battleground. I don't really like it when either faction tries to keep something. Um, I feel like it leads to bad habits. What the behavior is called, like I call it like sort of country frog, country smurf behavior,
Yeah.
where like if I go to like let's say I go to a small town outside of Boston and I tear down that guy's water
Uh-oh.
portal and just like
Uh-oh.
sit there. I mean, there's plenty of people that play both that way for both factions, and I think that's people are forced into playing like that because their areas just don't turn over much. They get excited or they just want to sort of own something. But for me, good ingress is like build it up. 5 minutes later, it should be down again. Like that. That for me is best for everybody if everyone's playing intensely and things are turning over.
Hmm.
Cool. Well, Eric,
I mean, people could disagree, but that's kind of how I do.
That's cool.
talking about making the difference, I want to know about a community you own. What is the Queer Ingress Worldwide, and why did you build it?
Oh, that's right.
Oh, the community?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the sound wasn't great, but I think he's asking about this community. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, about Queer
Worldwide.
Ingress Worldwide.
Yeah. So I mean, that got started because I mean, I want to say that like matters of inclusion are extremely, extremely important to me in general. Like that's just sort of how I feel about this game is that we need to strive to be as inclusive as we possibly can, and to bring in more different types of people, and to create a kind of better world than society in general, where there's more acceptance of diversity, and more understanding. And the only way to do that, frankly, is to get people into the game that come from different kinds of backgrounds. There's been kind of a typical Ingress agent profile, at least in these cities, but I think diversity by diversity of gender and diversity of sexual orientation is a really important issue. It's something that seems to matter a lot to people in Boston area. Like I guess it's just kind of our local culture, I guess, and like. I mean, even though like straight people on our faction are kind of like into, there's a lot of people that explore things like polyamory and other topics. So in order to be sort of inclusive of everybody, I created this community called Queer Ingress Worldwide, which rapidly people started jumping on that. Like I didn't know they were in any way like queer. Like what does that even mean? Like suddenly there were like a ton of people and a huge amount of support. But I knew it had really taken when someone joined from, I forget if it's Hungary or Romania, someplace where like there's real persecution of gay people, and they were like, "This is awesome! I'm so happy that there's a community." Like, like I realized that like we suddenly were having an impact, like Ingress and sort of Ingress culture. I think Ingress culture, cross faction, just culture in general of Ingress, of acceptance and tolerance and diversity being like a big deal. So ideally, I think we're creating something that's a little bit better than any real world situation that we can imagine. But that's fine if Ingress stays a little bit ahead of the real world in terms of openness and acceptance and tolerance. I'm totally fine with that.
Nice. Good to know. That's
Very admirable. Very cool.
absolutely. And I love that it's welcoming of, any and all identities.
Oh yeah, I mean we can't like pass some kind of a like purity test. Oh my God.
Are people that have sex with lobsters allowed in?
Yeah, I think. Well, technically yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, if people start thinking that I actually had sex with a crustacean, I mean that's fine. Like that's totally fine. But that's like how rumors get started. That's awesome.
Yeah, that would be real talent.
Oh
We'll,
yeah.
we'll start.
It's the
Well,
butter. It's like lobsters come with a ton of butter. It's all about the butter.
oh yeah. Damn. Well, Eric, now you have 60 seconds to say whatever you want, any topic. So go.
Okay, great. I can say whatever I like.
Yep.
Whatever you
Is that
want.
right? Sorry, like I'm having a little trouble with the audio, but
And you can read. You can
yeah. Here's
recite your poem if you'd like.
okay. Here's what I'm gonna say. I think that my local community has been my source of everything for like inspiration and like resources and people and free gear and like everything that I need in order to do my job. You know what I mean? I can't. There is no such thing as a one-person mega fielder, right? That doesn't. I mean, maybe back in the day people would try to solo something, but like you can't put layers over a city like Boston by yourself. That's just not really possible. Here in the city of Boston, like have become kind of like a family to me, and like as much as I'm playing or like even global level sometimes, my heart is always in Boston. And like if I'm fielding, I always want to field Boston. Do you know what I mean? I always try to sneak it in, or like even if it's a different project, try to like to focus on it. I do think that there's something about this like think globally, play locally attitude that's like that just holds up for me. That like this is a global game with amazing agents from all over the world playing it, but like everybody's got to kind of clean up their own house first, right? Like just keep the local city like going well, keep it strong, keep agents, and keep enthusiasm. I take it really personally when people like leave the game or like feel like they need to move on to other things. Of course, it's their life and they have the right to do all that, but I just like to make sure that at least we're creating an incredibly positive experience for people, and that they're going to want to like come out, do big ops, be more enthusiastic, and like play the game more, because I think it's good for us, all of us. I think it's good, healthy, positive that we're playing this thing.
Wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, guys, this is over. This has been a great show. Thanks so much for being on tonight and diversifying our minds and our community. Thanks, Eric. Thanks, William. Are you there, William?
Thank
Good.
you.
I see him. I see his dice. I see his giant dice.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was there. He was there.
You're muted.
yourself.
Click
All
the
right.
button. It looks like a microphone.
You guys are amazing. Thank you so much.
Well,
Thanks,
thank
man.
you.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
And join us next week. Happy hacking.
Happy hacking.
Joe.
Yo.
Speaking of kissing Smurfs, I think we should do that here, Daphne.
Oh, wait.
Oh, I'm
Wait, female Smurfs. He specified female Smurfs.
Jorge, when you come to DC?
I will contribute to the diversity. Sure.
Jorge, when you coming to DC?
Oh, well.
Oh, okay, and okay. You'll be
if this is going to be a common thing, I'm going to fly there tomorrow.
All right. God.
Oh, guys.
That was super